I'm having a great day. I really am. I'm having an awesome, awesome day. And the main reason I'm having an awesome day is because I'm manic. And this is how I feel when I'm manic. And it means I have a really lovely day. You could say one out of the park. But then you have so many out of the park days that they just become what it's like to be manic. So all the best days that you've ever had, where you've kind of, something's come together for you and you would put it in your memory bank as like one of my happiest memories. Oh, I just had a memory of my son. And it just interrupted the flow of my thinking. Yeah, I probably won't share that with you. It'll probably make me cry. I left the last video somewhere after I just watched it again through, talking about fuzzy bits. That's all it is. And you think, well, you know, we've magnified the glass and everything so the image looks closer. No, that isn't what you've done. You actually haven't done that at all. You think that's what you've done. There's an illusion of that having occurred. And certainly that's what it looks like. But it isn't actually what you've done at all. And it will take me too long to go into it. But I don't really need to convince anybody that I'm God. I honestly don't. I don't need to convince anybody I'm God. And I thought that I did have to at one stage. And I guess that kind of shows that God evolves. God starts off as a particular type of God and then becomes a different kind of God. Sort of slightly dictatorial one to, you know, or one that's a warrior princess is going to kick everybody's asses. Excessively martyr, you know, like a martyr. I've done that one massively. Yeah. Why do I care? Why do I care what other people think? Other people? No, I'm not a person. I am not a person. Are you a person? Well, if you think you are, then you are. And as far as I'm concerned, you are. You're a person. Just a person. And being a person's fine. Being a person's awesome. I mean, to be a person, because that means you're real. If you want to be real, then you can only be real if you're a person. Before that, you're just in draft. And you're not separate. Yeah, you are not separate. You're a draft who thinks that it's real. Like a flat piece of paper. And by flat, I mean 1 plank length. Or width. 1 plank width. That's a pretty small membrane. Which is what it is. It's a membrane. But that's too complicated. We won't go into that just now. What you guys call evidence is not evidence. It's not evidence. It might be evidence in a court of law, but it's just not evidence. It's not evidence of anything important, that's for sure. Drug trials, are not evidence of anything. I mean, really and truly, not evidence of anything. Nothing. There's no evidence in medical journals. None. It's all just bullshit stories. Really bullshit stories. Just checking the time. It's nearly 4 minutes and I have recorded some things that have been really long. So I just need to keep an eye on the time because I want to do some short ones. Because it's possible that people won't want to watch the half-hour ones. Do I look okay? I mean, I'm always looking at how I look. And that's, when I say always, I'm only here. This is my first day of posting up things on YouTube. Apart from there was one earlier. Oh, excuse me. Which is from me to me. So me as my so-called well face, my well self, to me when I'm unwell. In reality, it's my normal separated self talking to my self that's seeing non-dual reality, but only one half of that self, the other self, just the angry, half, or the fearful half as well, although God doesn't get fearful. I'm not in any way fearful. I'm not afraid. I mean, honestly, God does not get afraid. I mean, but God gets afraid until God knows God is God. Yeah, of course. All manner of, all the experiences that a human being goes through are all being gone through. Or I went through them all. I continue to go through them. And my kids, go through them too. What am I getting at? I'm up to 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 44. What am I going to talk about? I mean, I've got heaps to tell you, all you peeps. I'm happy to talk about anything. I'm not keeping anything back. I mean, it's not like the tree in the Garden of Eden. I mean, it is there is an aspect of it that is true along those lines, but that's part of the story. It's not separate from the story. It's not separate from this. So it's not like a thing that we can go and kind of, delve into and say, oh, this is the problem here, this one thing, would you draw a line around it and say that's it? Well, it just doesn't work like that. It just does. Creation does not work like that. And assuming that it does work like that means you've started off on the completely wrong way to go. And you'll never end up getting the answers that you need or want. But, I mean, I guess you'll get the answers that you need or want if you're a pharmaceutical company. Of course, all your drug trials will be saying all manner of fancy things about what your drugs can do and downplay the side effects to, a huge extent. And, basic understanding of how drugs work or don't work. The pharmaceutical companies know, but they don't tell us. They definitely don't tell us. They know what their drugs are doing and they know what they're not doing. But they won't tell us that. They like to be the guardians of the information. Well, they're not very good guardians because they're using it against us. Us. People with mental illness. Mental illness. It is not mental illness. There's nothing wrong with the brain. Nothing wrong with the brain at all. Basically, it's a problem with vibrations. It's a problem with what thoughts you're believing. And it's a problem with diet, sleep, salt balance and the salt levels in the blood, sugar levels in the blood, level of hydration, all of those things. And if they all turn over, or if some of them do, then you might find somebody who's completely psychotic and is not living in the same reality. And that basically means that their imagination has overwhelmed them and they are believing everything that they are imagining. They believe it to be true. They believe every thought that comes into their head. Every thought. And it's horrendous. It's horrendous to be in that situation because you don't know that you're in that situation. You've gone insane, but you don't know. And it's very hard for anybody to tell you that you have because you don't. Because of the reality that you're in, having people reassure you that you need to come back to shared reality and doing whatever they can to get you back doesn't cut it. Does that make sense? It's that I'm just there was a kink. I talked about kinks. Kinks in the relay. Yeah, there's a kink in the relay there. I do get kinks in the relay. Oh, and plus, I want to. I'm just a normal chick. Things that come out of my mouth are the wrong things sometimes. I swear too much. I swear far too much. I want to keep my swearing for when it's really necessary to make a point. I don't want to be fucking this and fucking that. Fucking's one of my favourite words. And it's just... it's genuinely funny sometimes when I do it, but only because I don't do it normally. And that's never been the case. I've never been that person. I've been a person who swears all the time. And somebody who's just met me and then I swear, they think it's funny until they then realise that I swear all the time. It's like, not so good. So yeah, I don't like the fact that I swear. I can be quite dispassionate sometimes, or uncompassionate. What is it? Dispassionate. I can actually really just get sick of it all. I just get sick of it all and sick of everyone. And that's when I isolate. I just don't want to be hanging out with other people. Now, that's at the level of where I'm living that out. I believe that I'm not worthy of being out in society, in community. So my self-confidence is so low that I don't believe I have a right to be in the world today. So I stay indoors and don't leave the house, like most agoraphobics. But I'm not agoraphobic. I just go through periods where I am. Sometimes they're quite extended periods. Well, extended as in, like, not 3 months, 4 months. I've got a friend who has that. And I've got another friend who's permanently agoraphobic. She's in her flat at the moment, agoraphobic. The other one goes through periods, 3 to 5 months. Mine are more likely to be a few weeks, a month at the most. I don't want to be scratching myself on YouTube. Just looking at the screen. It's really funny, this screen. It's plugged in. And it's got something. I don't know what that is. Number. And then some buttons. And then there's a picture of the last video in the corner. And we're up to 11:30. Oh, excuse me. I'm yawning. I was up all night last night. Well, not all night, but a lot of the night. AJ came over. Oh, wow. Well, I think the cutest thing about AJ is he doesn't realise he's God. It must be so obvious to him that he is. I don't understand why he doesn't know. And why he had to ask me last night whether, why does I like him? Oh my God, to have to say that to somebody who's just gorgeous and clever and has a beautiful heart and is just so genuine and considerate and just everything you could possibly imagine of a good trait in a person. And a couple of annoying traits, like his lack of timeliness. And some other few things he does, plays Mr. Fix-It in situations where it's not necessary. Although he's very generous, and I love the fact he's so kind and thinking he wants to make my world better. Sometimes it can get a little bit irritating. Oh, what am I doing? Am I giving relationship advice now? I mean, I have no right to give anybody relationship advice because I have seriously fucked those things up. Yeah, I'm not going to tell all those personal things, apart from to say very quickly, because they could be long yarns, very quickly, I had an affair when I was married, and it ended our marriage. And, it's not the sort of thing that God would do, is it? God wouldn't do that. But, the thing that I wonder about with that is how any other teacher could have the answer to the problems in life if they hadn't actually lived through the problems. I can't see how they could. And so saying, that Jesus had a life where he was, had to live the full human experience, bullshit. His parents knew he was God. Or that he was God. Well, he is. He was God. But then so is everyone God. Everyone is God. What else do you think is here? There's only God here. How can there be anything other than God? Everything's God. It has to be. I'm telling you it is. It actually is. Everything's God. Everything is me. And that's just so fucking obvious. I'm just looking around going, yeah, everything is me. Okay, so what does that mean? What does it mean if everything is you? If there's only you there, and you know that there's only you there, and not just in the universe, because the universe is just a construct. There's no such thing as a universe. It's what little peeps on Earth think this space in which we exist is. And it's wrong. It's just so wrong to talk about a universe. I mean, you could call a universe the shape of a bubble that we're inside. But even that doesn't work because you think that you can't get out of the bubble and you can. So there is no bubble, actually. you can draw one in your mind and hold that as a vision or visual, but it won't, you know, inevitably you'll end up at the same place. Well, 15 minutes. Okay, I'm probably going to have to finish up. I don't know what I've said that's of any use, but whether you think I'm God or don't think I'm God, doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference at all. It doesn't have any impact on the outcome of this. The outcome will be the same no matter what. I will be in charge. That's it. I will ultimately be in charge because I am in charge already. And the only difference between what's the case now and what will be the case in the future is that you guys have all caught up. And once you've all caught up, then we're all good to go. And, you know, nobody is in charge of me for any reason to do anything. I follow rules, certain rules around the place because I choose to. I don't see any reason why I shouldn't. I don't radically object to any laws, usually. And the ones I do, I have always disobeyed and really outwardly disobeying them because I think they're such stupid fucking rules. Like the rule that you shouldn't smoke in hospital. That is a disgusting rule. Shouldn't smoke in hospital. You should be able to smoke in hospital. Whatever you're in for, you should be able to smoke in hospital. Except for the conditions where you absolutely have to have not smoked for however many days before you have your operation. In that case, I think it's, you know, obviously the done thing. Nobody should ever be prevented from smoking. To prevent somebody from smoking when they would like to be able to smoke and need to smoke and have got their own means of smoking, like their own money to buy them, then that's a terrible thing to do. So that's actually abuse, as far as I'm concerned. That's abuse. And when somebody is in a psych unit on lockdown and they're not allowed access to cigarettes, you are abusing the fuck out of them. That's cruel and unusual punishment. And there's not supposed to be any punishment in psychiatric units. But I assure you there is. There is lots and lots and lots of punishment inside mental institutions. Psychiatric units. I know because I've been in them. 18 months in total I've spent in psychiatric units. 18 months. So I know them like the back of my hand. I know everything that goes down. I know every single thing that's not right in those psychiatric units. And a lot is not right. Most of it is not right. Most of how people with mental illness, most of the things to do with their treatment aren't right. Very few things. And it's not treatment anyway, it's management. It's helping a person through an initiation ceremony, or not a ceremony, but an initiation process. It's a long, drawn-out initiation process. And someone has to help you through it. You have to be guided through it. Because if you're not guided through it, you will go to the nut house. So someone's got to pick you up as soon as you fall. As soon as you awaken. Like the very moment you go, ah! Like that moment in Matrix. Where he wakes up and realises he's a battery. It's the same moment. Not for the same reason, but it's the same eureka moment. It's like, oh, fuck. You have a moment that would cause you as much fear and as much confusion as in the Matrix. And I'm not lying. And the Wachowski brothers knew that. They know that because they're awake. Nobody who wasn't awake would create something like the Matrix. You have to be to understand all that stuff, because all that stuff is spot on. Symbolically, spot on. And in many other ways too. Many other ways. But symbolically, it's not literally like that. But, I mean, in some ways it is. In some parts of it, it's literally correct. Strange to say that, but not literally correct. Because is it real or not real? Those are some tough questions. Right, I'm up to 20, and I think I've talked enough, so I'm going to turn this off now, and then I might try and figure out how to upload it to YouTube. Oh, I'm going to have to think of some really good titles. Ones that, you know, people put in and they're like, bang, there she is. Mum is God, I thought was quite a good one. Mum is God. And God is Mum is another one. Mum is God. God is Mum. And there was another one that I thought I might do. The People's Revolution, maybe I could call it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I've used up enough time. I'm going to make myself a cup of tea now. I'm not going to go, bye, because that's really daft. Unless it's for a kid. If it's a kid's one, then that's fair enough. Right, anyways, bye. Not bye. I could do it just once. Bye.